Hey, yo. So, what do we want to talk about? So, it seems like the dust has finally settled on this Drake Kendrick beef, clash, situation, whatever you want to call it. And for the last little while, I wanted to make videos about this, but I wasn't necessarily in the best condition cosmetically. Allergies is a trip. But now, I've got the microphone, and there's a lot that I want to say about this. Let me start by saying that if you're a Kendrick stan or a Drake stan, click out of this video. Objectivity is not going to be your strong suit in this conversation. Now I'm about to do something that I don't think I've ever done in any of my videos. I'm going to issue a partial retraction of something that I've said, because I still think that 1, Cole's response to Kendrick was whack. 2, Cole's angle that he was trying to go at Kendrick from was lame. And 3, Cole dissing Kendrick and then apologizing for it afterwards did not do him any favors. But here's where the partial retraction comes in. Because in hindsight, Cole made the right decision. Not because he felt or knew that he couldn't go up against Kendrick, but he probably saw how ugly this was going to get. Never mind the fact that he did catch some strays either way. And boy, did this beef get ugly, dark, and sad in a hurry. It got ugly because it went from being about friendly competition in hip-hop to airing each other's dirty laundries in seconds. It got dark because the dirty laundry that they were airing out about each other was centered around allegations of abuse. And it got sad because Drake and Kendrick are 2 rappers who are far better than what this beef devolved to. Because the fact of the matter is, this beef became more about the tea and the exposure of each other's personal lives than it did about the bars. And for anybody who's gonna comment under this video, oh, this is hip-hop, this is exactly what hip-hop has been about when it comes to competition and beef. No, the it wasn't. Of all my years of being a fan of hip-hop, I have never seen no like this. Oh, but the nature of diss tracks is to say the most disrespectful thing that you can to your opponent. That's not what this rap beef was about. This beef has an emphasis on moral standing and ethics that no other rap beef has ever had before. Think about it. Tupac versus Biggie, Jay-Z versus Nas, 50 Cent versus Ja Rule, 50 Cent versus The Game, Young Jeezy versus Gucci Mane, KRS-One versus MC Shan, LL Cool J versus Kool Moe Dee, LL Cool J versus Cannabis, Ice Cube versus Common, Ice Cube versus NWA, Ice Cube versus Cypress Hill, MC8 versus DJ Quick. Whichever rap beef comes to your mind, none of them have ever devolved to which rapper is better. The one being accused of being a pedo, or the other one being accused of being a woman beater. But my biggest issue with this rap beef is the fact that these 2 artists are airing out each other's dirty laundries, but both of their hampers are full. Because as a fan of both of these rappers, each time they pointed at each other about something, I would say, you're one to talk. Like, for example, for Kendrick to be calling Drake out for aiding and abetting sex traffickers and sex offenders, when he was the one who told Spotify that he would pull his music off of the platform if they pulled R. Kelly's music off of there. And I already know the argument against that is, oh, it wasn't about him caping for R. Kelly as an abuser. It was about him caping for R. Kelly as a black artist and other black artists that would get their music pulled down for heinous crimes. Do you not understand how that sounds? It sounds almost like how anytime a prominent black figure is on the hook for something heinous, whether it's Bill Cosby or Puffy or Tory Lanez or R. Kelly, there's that subset of people who talk about, oh, they just try to take the black man down. It should not matter if they're one of ours. If they did some get them the out of here. So even if you apply that context that Kendrick was really just acting on behalf of black artists that would be unfairly penalized by Spotify's decision, the fact that R. Kelly was attached to that makes the efforts of your gesture mean less. When Kendrick calls Drake out for being a culture vulture or for not being part of the culture or for being a colonizer, it's funny how he has a problem with Drake being part of the culture, but when Iggy Azalea, a white woman from Australia, comes to America and raps with a fake southern accent, it's cool. Let her do her thing. God wants her here. And on the flip side of that, Drake getting at Kendrick for allegedly beating on women is so funny because there are people that he's still cool with and continues to work with that actually do have those charges leveled against them. Like, it's weird that you're talking about Kendrick beating on women allegedly, but you're advocating for the freedom of a rapper who shot one. Tory Lanez did that. Argue with your mom. You're talking about Kendrick hasn't seen his kids in 6 months, but right now we're questioning the fact on whether or not you're actually hiding an 11-year-old girl and whether or not you're actively in her life. And then speaking of that, actually bragging that you planted somebody to tell Kendrick about the 11-year-old girl, laughing at the fact that Kendrick was going for false information information without actually doing his research, when in your last song, you misinterpreted a song that Kendrick put on his last album about his mother being molested, not him. I mean, don't get me wrong, we got some good songs out of this. I mean, Not Like Us is a certified banger. Family Matters, Push Ups, and Euphoria have pretty good replay value. And it was interesting to see how mainstream and social media took a hold of this beef. It was like everybody was talking about Kendrick versus Drake, which makes sense because these are two of the biggest rappers of the genre. I'm sure a lot of people Drake and Kendrick their way into some DMs, you know what I'm saying? But overall, a clash that was 10 plus years in the making devolved into something ugly, dark, and sad. And the craziest takeaway from this beef is not which one is the winner. It's not which one of these rappers were telling the truth and which one of these rappers were lying. It's that if the allegations that they both leveled against each other does not amount to anything later on, what would have been the point of any of this?